Okay, so welcome to the Tomorrow Show. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
All right, so our topic is going to be over the Cold War. The Cold War was between the United States and the Soviet Union. This happened after World War II. This caused for increased tensions, mutual suspicions, and it brought the world's superpowers to the brink of disaster. All right, so now I'm going to pass it over to the Chelseanator.
Yeah.
She's going to tell us about the sports during the Cold War.
In the Summer Olympics of 1972, things changed quite a bit for Team USA. Team USA had won the last 7 gold medals during the Olympics and was expected to win once again, but the Soviets changed that. The Soviets won the game by 1 point, which was a shot during the time while time was expiring. Americans were having many objections as to whether the final basket counted. The score was Soviet Union 51, United States 50. Now, in the 1980 Winter Olympics, also known as the Miracle on Ice, the United States is able to push out a win from the Soviet Union, who had won 6 of the 7 last Olympics. Now, the United States would always trail behind the Soviets, so this was a huge surprise when the U.S. won. The score was 4-3. This game left Soviets angry.
During the Cold War, there were many conflicts between allies of the United States and allies of the Soviet Union, but no direct conflict between the two superpowers. These were called proxy wars, such as the ones between North Korea and the United States, Vietnam and the United States, the USSR and Afghanistan. The list goes on and on. These were fought to help spread the ideologies of their respective countries. In almost every case, ended in failure for the superpower involved. This would almost certainly lead to the other superpower coming in and spreading their ideology of their country into the small country. This would happen to the United States and Vietnam, and this would happen to the USSR and Afghanistan and Iran. All right, Chi. All right, so the major terror of the Cold War was the threat of nuclear destruction. This is the reason why the two superpowers never directly fought for fear of mutually assured destruction, or MAD. This fear hung over the world for almost half of a century and led to major government spending, which put both the U.S. and USSR in major debt. This debt spelled the end of the USSR. The major conflict, the one that stands out the most during this time period, would have to be the Vietnam War. The Vietnam conflict began after World War II when Ho Chi Minh, the leader of the communists in Vietnam, began leading an insurrection against the French colonial overlords. The United States then began to help by sending aid and military advisors to the French to help fight the communists. This eventually led to a full-scale war between the Americans and the Vietnamese after the French were beaten. This war led to countless American and Vietnamese lives being lost and millions of dollars spent by the United States government for no gain at all. Vietnam, number 1, undefeated. Scoreboard!
World War I is often called the Chemist's War, both for the use of poison gas and the importance of nitrates and advanced explosives. Poison gas was used extensively by the Germans and the British. Over the course of the war, scientists on both sides raced to develop more and more potent chemicals and create countermeasures against the newest enemy gases. Other war efforts included the development of wireless communication technologies and sound-based methods of detecting submarines, resulting in the first long-term connections between academic science and the military. World War II led to a large increase in the military funding of science, particularly physics. In addition to the Manhattan Project and the resulting atomic bomb, British and the Americans both worked on radar, which was highly influential in the course of the war. Radar-enabled detection of enemy ships and rocket science was also central to the war effort, with military-funded wartime advances having a long-term effect in each field. The technologies employed at the end were jet aircraft, radar, and most importantly, the atomic bomb, which were all very new compared to pre-war technology. Military leaders came to view continued advances. In technology responsible for success in future wars. The advent of the Cold War solidified the links between military institutions and academic science in the United States and the Soviet Union. Following the end of the Cold War and the destruction of the Soviet Union, much of the American military scientific complex remains in place.
All right, thank you, and that is all for the Tomorrow Show. See you next week.
Come on.